I'm sorry, the person that you tried to reach is unavailable. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Emmy here. Welcome to the Emmy experience. Yes, it is I in the flesh. I'm here for you to deliver to you everything you need to know about a Mercury retrograde. So first, let me just give you a little bit of information on what a Mercury retrograde looks like. So Mercury starts to move forward, right? During like the first week of Mercury retrograde. And then it backtracks. And then it moves forward again. It basically gives the opposite effect of what the planet does when it's moving forward. So Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the planet of messages, productivity. It's electronics, even negotiation, buying, selling, formal contracts, or any contracts really. I mean Venus as well, but that's a different topic. Leases, wills, any marriage, even like marriage contracts, engagement contracts, signing up for a new job, starting a new job, even doing an interview, things like this. Things tend to go wrong. So let's say you try to marry somebody during a Mercury retrograde, propose to someone during a Mercury retrograde, buy property even, or start a new job. These areas, they tend to backfire on you once the planet goes direct. It might not be like right when the planet goes direct, but in the upcoming like weeks and months, like you might notice, like let's say for example you start a job during Mercury retrograde, and then you might notice like you thought this job was going to be great, you start the job and then everything was cool, and Mercury goes direct, you start to notice that like things move funny in your department. So things like that can be prevented by not making big decisions and signing anything, and important communication meetings, interviews, proposals, anything like that during this time. So kind of back on the astronomy tidbit, Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, meaning that it does its rotations going like around the sun the fastest than any other planet. Because of this, it retrogrades so many times in 1 year. So it retrogrades about 3 to 4 times a year for about like 3 to 4 weeks, so like about a month long. And when this happens, I think we have one coming up. What is Mercury in right now? To be honest, I have no idea. Now, me filming this, it's basically November. Mercury is in Libra at the moment. I think we just had a Mercury retrograde while it was still in Libra. Basically, when you look at Greek or Roman mythology, I think whichever one, Mercury was Hermes. That was Greek mythology. He literally would send messages. So Mercury retrogrades, it's asking you to reflect and reevaluate that area that the planet is, whatever sign it's in and whatever house it's in. Mercury just went retrograde and it went direct in Libra. So Libra is all about partnership, relationships, and business. So like I was actually trying to get a job during this time, and I was noticing like I was doing really bad in interviews, which I'm a talker. I normally do really well at interviews, but things weren't, I just wasn't being able to communicate myself in an effective way, and it was kind of above me. Miscommunications happen when Mercury retrogrades, for example. Usually Mercury retrogrades for about 3 weeks. So what happens is for the first week, back to the astronomy but basically what happens is Mercury starts to move forward, right? During like the first week of Mercury retrograde. And then it backtracks. And then it moves forward again. So when it backtracks, pay close attention to what is happening in your world the week before Mercury retrograde and the first week, okay? Maybe even the 2 weeks before Mercury retrograde. Because usually those areas of whatever is happening will tend to inflame in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. And let's say, for example, if you are dating somebody and there's a small little things that they do that you just do not like and you just cannot stand, but you let it go because it's not that major, and you keep letting it go and you keep letting it go, and then next thing you know, in the middle of the Mercury retrograde, you might find yourself being explosive, or they might be explosive to you, or that small thing that they do could become really big It's situational, and it also depends on what house Mercury is retrograding and on what sign. So I know I'm being very vague. Communication is the big part that I'm trying to like convey here, because Mercury is, it rules like mail and like sending a message, because like I mentioned, Mercury was the messenger of the gods. Some things to not do: any big purchases during a Mercury retrograde. I wouldn't try to start a new brand or launch anything during a Mercury retrograde. I also would try to like avoid like any serious conversations, whether it's relationships, jobs, if you can, unless it's about reevaluation. This is a good time to like counseling, couples counseling, therapy for yourself. This is a good time to maybe speak to your boss and ask them to, you know, how am I doing? What am I missing? What am I not delivering in? And reassessing where areas of improvement. I think this is really good. It's not a good time to start anything new. It's not a good time to launch a new business. It's not a good time to travel. It's not a good time to buy a new car, okay? Anything with like transportation, because sending a message, right? So anything with buying any expensive things, or try to avoid expecting an expensive package to come during a Mercury retrograde. Changing your appearance physically, maybe even like painting your room. I know that's more like Venus retrograde energy, but still something that you think is a good idea during a Mercury retrograde tends to not be once Mercury goes direct. Maybe even starting a new relationship or starting a new level of commitment, like maybe trying to move in with a partner during a Mercury retrograde, the same as a Venus retrograde. Yeah, I would just avoid it personally. But basically, when a Mercury retrogrades, it just wants any sign, any element, asking you to take a look at what's happening in your world, okay? And it's asking you to revisit, reassess, reevaluate what's going on. You know, it's situational, like I mentioned, but it's not the time to start new things here. You don't start new things here. You want to reevaluate and go inwards. Don't launch, start, do anything like that, because 85 to 95% of the time will backfire on you. So just wait. If something's that important, what difference does it make if you wait 3 weeks? Because Mercury only retrogrades 3 to 4 weeks. So just wait. Let's go over a few more don'ts. I think I kind of touched on them already. Don't move during a Mercury retrograde. Don't book a one-way flight during a Mercury retrograde. Don't sign a contract, sign a new lease, buy a new car, okay? Please don't buy a new car during a Mercury retrograde. It could be recalled. You might end up having to spend a lot of money on this car because the engine or the brakes or something is just not right, okay? So please don't do that. Don't make any big purchases on electronics. Don't buy a new MacBook, a new computer, a new iPhone, or whatever, an Apple Watch. It doesn't have to be Apple products. I don't know why I'm only saying Apple products, but it's because they're expensive. So don't buy those things during a Mercury retrograde. There could be something wrong with the software, the hardware. The phone could glitch. So yeah, don't do that. It's not a good time to launch anything. I know I probably sound like a broken record, but it's not a good time to launch your business, to launch a magazine, to launch a blog, advertising campaigns, anything with communication, especially if you are in the communication industry. Recruitment, anything like that, trying to recruit people. This is not the time to do that, because you're trying to invite new energy when the energy of the collective is saying to sit down, okay? And you're trying to run the race, but you can't, okay? So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say here. Don't sign a lease. If you can avoid doing interviews or like a final interview during a Mercury retrograde, I would, okay? Yeah. So now I kind of want to go over some things that would help you stay sane and stay calm during a Mercury retrograde, okay? So miscommunications are going to happen like regardless. So just be mindful of that and be understanding when they arise. And like, could be working on a project and then all of a sudden the direction of the project could change. During a Mercury retrograde, sometimes if you don't resist and go with the flow, because it's redirection, reassessment, okay? So let's say you were working on a project and it was supposed to be with young kids, and now they're saying they want it to be with people from 21 to 25. Follow that. Don't just be stubborn and stick with it, because hello, reassessing. Maybe the data, maybe the brand or project or whatever thing you're trying to introduce to kids might actually be better for people who are 21 to 25 or whatever the age group I just said. And if you're able to actually follow that, you might see that you would have way more success with that target group than you did in the beginning. As an example, if you find yourself in a lot of miscommunications with people, really just listening to what they're saying and summarizing and active listening, practicing those communication tools during this time will really help you, because as long as you're staying grounded and trying to hear the other person out versus like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Okay, well, you're not listening to what I'm saying. So it's going to go back and forth. But if you actually listen and confirm and like, you know, reassure the person that you are listening by re-summarizing what they're saying, like, you could meet a better middle ground that way. So you kind of have to take that extra step, but I promise you, if you do, it'll be worth it. Mercury retrograde does control or rule like Mercury and devices, so phones, computers, things like that. You might notice that things are acting up. If you're a student, if you make videos, if you do anything on the computer, make sure you have all your stuff backed up, because you never know what could happen. Your computer could crash, your phone could stop working, and then you would lose that information. Let's say your car has been acting up lately, and if you have the opportunity, go to a mechanic, okay, before Mercury starts retrograding. If you have any wishy-washy feelings about your car, please go get it checked. I've said car so many times because it matters. If you work in IT or something like that, you're trying to install new softwares, even if you're a regular person trying to install new softwares on devices, I would wait. Okay, it's not the time to install new things. Mercury also rules like buying and selling and like commerce, you know, like the trade. Yeah, trade. Okay. So if you're into that or you do that, but don't buy or sell anything that's expensive during a Mercury retrograde. Find that I feel like a lot more items are out of stock during a Mercury retrograde, so it might be hard to get the things that you want. People might be trying to not give you, like, let's say you like to trade antiques, or people might be trying to rip you off basically, or like not pay you the full amount of what the product is actually worth. So waiting till the planet goes direct to sell something, especially if it is something expensive. If you're flying or booking flights, might be delays with your flight, your airline. You might, if you have a layover, I would maybe try to get a direct flight, just because you might have a long layover. I'm not saying like anything bad is gonna happen. I'm just saying, like, you know, your 1 hour stop in Texas could end up being 10 hours. And make sure you have your luggage marked so it doesn't end up in the wrong airline. That actually happened to me before. My luggage was lost for 2 weeks. I was going to Africa and my luggage went to the Middle East. So yeah, maybe even revisiting if you live, like, let's say there's a restaurant that you like and you live in your hometown, or your hometown's not too far away, you know, revisiting things that bring you joy and could possibly help you with connecting the dots. Because sometimes if you put yourself in a situation of the past, things will come up and you never know what could come up and it could be beneficial for you, is basically what I'm trying to get at here. But yes, that was my very scrambled, detailed definition of a Mercury retrograde. I hope this resonated with you. I hope you feel clearer and more confident on what to do and what to not do during a Mercury retrograde. So if this made sense, comment down below. If you have any questions, comment down below, let me know, and I will get back to you. And yeah, thanks for watching this video, and I will see you later. Oh my God, I totally forgot to say, if you're feeling the vibes, okay, please hit subscribe. It validates me and lets me know that you like me. So, okay, bye.